Hello everyone, it's Matt from Akuma Mods, back again with our review of the Fokoos Odin 5. So Fokoos, reached out to me and wanted me to do a little review and showcase of their foldable 3D printer. Now I say foldable like that because, well, yeah, it is foldable, but it is also solid in the same way. So there are two screws on each side, one front, one back of the extrusion rails on each side of here. And once you put those in there, it is no longer a foldable printer. So if you're like me and was worried that, oh, it's a foldable printer, it's going to have, major wobbling, we're going to have major issues down the line with it just not printing very well. That isn't the case because obviously it bolts down. So, but what's nice is 4 screws. You fold it down and you can take it anywhere. It's a very, very compact setup. So that is really, really cool that it does that. But it's not a true foldable printer, as everybody might think it may be. So yeah, I put it about 3 rolls of different filament so far. I'm actually just starting on my 3rd one right now, so we haven't gotten too much testing done with this roll, but it's been printing fine so far. I've had no issues in terms of how print quality is. It's been printing perfectly fine, whether it's tall, small, flat, whatever it may be. We did have a little bit of issue where the bed became unleveled a little bit, but that could have been from me trying to take a piece off. I was kind of manhandling it a little bit, so that could have been my error. Not 100% sure on that, but we just re-leveled it, and I've been fine ever since. So I'll just chalk that up to user error on that sense. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive into what I think of the printer. In all, it's a really, really nice, solid printer. It is a little bit more on the expensive side comparing it to like an Ender 3, even an Ender 3B2. But there are some added features that make it a little bit a step above like an Ender 3B2, the Voxel Lab Aquila, the G-Tech 810, and whatever printer that's in that 235 by 235 by 250 build volume. So a smaller build volume. But so we have a filament runout sensor, which is really, really an interesting one because usually you have a filament runout sensor that's right below the filament itself or somewhere in the filament path, where this one is actually right on the extruder. So that's really, really cool and nice to have because it doesn't leave that portion of filament when it goes to the end. So that's really, really nice, is that the filament waste of that little bit is very, very minimal compared to most of the filament runout sensors that I use, because they're usually, Bowden path or, a path of this length, whatever. So that's really, really nice to see that. I don't know if that would be a good thing down the line, like as if it keeps, having filament triggers or anything. I haven't had any problems with it, besides it actually triggering and working the way that it's intended to. So it does work. I've tested it out. I've done it, and I'll kind of show you a little bit right here. You can see there's a filament change right there. So this is something that I designed for my my sound bar. So it does work, and it works very, very well. I had no issues with it bonding to the next layer or anything like that. So, but yeah, some interesting things that I'm not too personally okay with on this machine, and it's a big thing because it's the heart of the machine in some ways, is these ribbon cables. While it's a very, very nice visually looking printer because of that, those do go bad over time, and they do snap, they do get in the way, and it's natural. It happens with pretty much anything that you put some sort of stress on. Okay, now they have limited that stress a little bit here, where they've taped it in certain sections and said, okay, this is about the maximum stress for this type of cable. All right, you should be okay. Now, I know there's been, like the artillery printers have had issues with that in the past. And that was one of my concerns, seeing this type of printer and having that set up. But I will say that unlike the artillery, at least the first generation artilleries, they include extra ones. So they are aware that at some point these might go bad or they might snap. Something will will happen with them, and they do provide extra ones. So that is very, very nice that they have that included into the package. They also have some other, nozzle cleaning tools and everything like that. So they do prepare you with what you need to get into 3D printing. So it is definitely a nice little kudos to them for including that type of stuff. It does have this odd glass bed, which I'm kind of like so-so. You might also know it as the Ultra Base, because that's really what the premise of that is off of. Obviously, it's a lower end version of the Ultra Base. I actually have not had any adhesion problems with it, thankfully. Usually I do with these type of beds, so I always keep some hairspray around. Aquanet is always a great thing to have. That's always my go-to, but I have yet needed to use it on this printer so far. So I'm happy about that. I did have some issues where it did have some bed leveling issues, but I think that was more or less when I took off the print before it. I kind of manhandled it a little bit. I was grabbing this and scraping off with another, so I think I kind of unleveled it a little bit. We just re-leveled it and went on our merry way, and it was printing fine after that. So, and that piece that I just showed off was the last piece I took off of this print bed. But yeah, so it's a very, very basic printer, and it does provide some, nicer features, like I said, over an Ender 3 V2. Not only does it have the filament runout sensor, but it also has dual Z lead screws, which makes that gantry level 100%. It's one issue that plagues most Ender 3 models is the sagging gantry issue on this side, because there's nothing there to stabilize it. So when you get a hot end, even on the stock hot end, sometimes it just kind of sags, because these wheels do wear out, and that's what happens. But with the lead screw, when the wheels do wear out, you do have that lead screw backing it up. It is not belt length like the CR6 SE is, but it's still a lot better than an Ender 3. So you could add a belt to that and make it even more stable, and make it literally like virtually stable, like non-movable, but that's completely up to you. So it is a nice upgrade to go to if you are gonna do any upgrades on this printer. Since it is a direct drive system, that's a lot nicer for those looking to print TPU, because really that's the only reason for you to have a direct drive system, is to make it easier for you to print TPU. Not saying you can't print TPU on a Bowden system, but it just makes it a lot easier on a direct drive. And that's really the only thing that makes a direct drive that much better over a Bowden system, or Bowden system, however you guys want to say it. So all in all, the printer is a really, really nice looking printer. I like that everything is, all in the bottom here. The power supply, everything, the board, what have you, is all centered in here. Nothing else is out in the open. So it is a very nice visually looking printer. The UI touch menu is very different than most of the printers that I use. Usually they're very vibrant. This one's dark. I'm a big fan of the dark theme. So I really, really like this, and it's kind of cool because it, kind of brings you back to the 80s with the 8-bit looking stuff. So I really, really like that type of look. But all in all, it is a really, really nice printer. As of shooting this video on Amazon, I'm looking right now, it is going for $299, and it does have a $35 coupon as of, like I said, shooting this video. So that is a very, very good price range. It puts it right around the Ender 3 V2 price range. So in my opinion, if you spend a little bit more money, even if it wasn't on that $35 coupon that they have, for $300, this is a really, really nice starter printer. Yeah, sure, you can probably go with a little bit bigger build volume and go with a CR10, But if you want something that is very stable and very nice, and again, it is technically foldable, that is compact, this is a really, really nice printer. I've had no real issues except for when we were unboxing it, we did have a hot end clog that caused it not to feed the filament through. I did get that sorted out later on that night, so it only took me about, I want to say, a half hour to figure out what's going on with it. And I didn't even have to take it apart. I just kind of figured it out just through process of elimination. So, but we got the clog out, and it's been printing perfect ever since. We did some model for a customer here. It's a little Dreamcast VMU holder. Like I said, I've done some printing for my first design, actually, so this is really, really nice to see how it came out, actually. So I'm very surprised about that. Here's the first iteration of that, so a little bit smaller, but came out perfectly fine. I don't see like any major layer lines or issues where there's a clog or it's skipping something or anything having major issue. Like I said, I just had that little bump with the bed leveling issue, but other than that, it's been printing perfectly fine with no problem. So do I suggest this printer for a first-time user? Absolutely. It's always nice to see somebody else on the market come out with a new printer and see what they provide, because I'll be honest, I think this is a little bit better buy than an Ender 3 V2. Maybe probably the best in terms of smaller printers for like best bang for your buck and what you get, because that dual lead screw really does help, and then the direct drive system is really a plus as well. So this does also have Wi-Fi. I've not hooked it up because I'm kind of so-so with the whole Wi-Fi thing. I know that's a huge thing with a lot of people, but for me, they're usually within walking distance, so I'm not too far from my printer, so I don't really utilize that, so I can't really say too much on that point. So yeah, that's about the only thing I haven't really tested out on this printer. One other thing I wanted to add before I let you guys go here is that when I did the unboxing of this printer, yeah, the printer was a little bit tight in terms of like the wheel, so it did cause some flat spots on the wheel. But all we did was we just loosened that up a little bit, and it has gotten better over time. So I don't have the stopping motion. So if you guys do happen to get this printer, make sure you check the bed wheels and make sure that you are not having them over tight. So I would just go ahead and move the bed kind of slowly. You don't want to move it really, really fast because you can blow out a driver. But move it just a little bit so you can feel if it has any stopping motion on it. And if it does, just kind of unloosen those, or you could just change out the wheels in general. So that's about the only real major issue that I would say out of anything. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I know it's not, anything special or anything like that, but I personally think this is probably your best bang for your buck in terms of, smaller printers as of right now. And everybody that I've talked to has had, good experiences with it and very, very few issues so far. Not saying that issues won't come and people won't have issues with it, because that's just what happens with any printer you buy. Some are good, some are bad, some of them are in between. I'd call this one more or less the good on the in-between sides because of the whole bed wheel thing. But other than that, it's been a solid printer so far. I haven't had any issues with it. So I've been really, really enjoying this printer. So kudos to Fokoos, or however they say it, with their Odin 5. And again, just reiterating, while they say it's a foldable printer, yes and no. It does, bolt down to the frame and create an actual good printer. But again, if you need to, box this up or take it anywhere, you can easily just unbolt 4 screws and it'll fold down, and you got yourself a folding printer that is very, very compact. So that's a really, really cool feature to have if you absolutely need that feature. I'll be honest, it's just kind of a moot point for me. I don't really care either way, but it's a cool kind of selling point that's not really a good selling point because it's not true folding. So, but hey, that's just my 2 cents on it. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I will leave links down below to purchase this printer through Amazon. It is an affiliate link, so I do get a little bit back when you guys do purchase through that. And even if you don't purchase the printer, if you're purchasing parts through it, just go through that link and you can purchase anything off of Amazon, and I get a little bit of a piece back from it. So it's not very, very much. You know, if you purchase this printer, I probably get, you know, maybe 50 cents to $1, depending on how Amazon sees the profitability to it. But anyway, so if you guys got any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and leave them below. I will try and get back to you as soon as I can. And that's pretty much it for this review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, happy printing.